Hey everybody, and welcome to Comics from the Future. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga. I get on a roll so much that like these aren't words anymore. Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is our big show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that are up for pre-order this weekend. Your orders are due Sunday by 9 o'clock, so don't miss out because there's some really good stuff coming your way. And so you're better prepared when you go to your local comic book shop, and you don't miss out on any of this stuff. You know, comic stores run out of the good stuff.
We ran out of Ultimate Spider-Man super quick on Wednesday. Yeah.
So if you're one of the ones who got it from us, thank you.
Yeah.
If you ordered it or you came by and picked it up, a lot of people saying they really liked our review of it and everything. So really cool. Yes, thank you so much. So like I said, big show this week. Let's get into it. Starting with our featured comics, and that would be Thundercats #1. So now that Dynamite has, they've got the license for a few really cool books coming up. Yeah. They're going to be rolling out, I think Free Comic Book Day, we're going to be getting a Johnny Quest, the tease for the Johnny Quest book.
Oh, there's a Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon.
Or is that's not Dynamite?
I think that's somebody else.
Yeah.
But we are getting Space Ghost at some point as well. They announced a bunch of different ones that they're starting, but I'm glad they're kicking off with Thundercats. So this sounds really cool. This is, of course, if you're not familiar, it's the story of Thundercats. This is not like a I guess continuation of the story. This is telling the story of the Thundercats as they escape Thundera, which is their world's getting ravaged and everything. They send off this pod that lands on Third Earth, and now the Thundercats kind of have to make a life for themselves there, all the while fighting against Mum-Ra and the Plundar, the mutants of Plundar. So this sounds really great. I'm really excited for this. It's written by Declan Shalvey, and the art is by Drew Moss. I feel like, you know, if you're a fan of like the people who jumped on Gargoyles, that kind of thing, Dynamite's doing some really cool things with some of these properties. So I'm very excited about this.
Plus, it's just awesome. I mean, it's not the same publisher, but we've got Thundercats and Gargoyles and also G.I. Joe and Transformers. Like everything from my childhood is now
Instead
new
of waking
again.
up on Saturday morning and sitting in front of the TV, you can pull out a stack of books and you can have your Saturday morning cartoons right there.
It's nice.
So wait till we get the, I don't know, new Fraggle Rock and some other stuff.
Smurfs and Snorks and
Yeah. So it'd be cool to do like a book that has like a bunch of those in it, like a Smurf short story, a Snorks, you know, all the different little characters like that.
Let us know in the comments like what some of your favorite like 80s cartoons were, or 90s cartoons, I guess.
Yeah, like what would you like to see in comic book form? I think would be really cool.
Yeah, oh yes.
You know, Frank Miller's Snorks or something. But of course, this is Dynamite. We've got a bunch of covers starting with this awesome A cover by David Nakayama. We have a PARRILLO variant. There's your writer of it, Declan Shalvey right there. He's a great artist. We have our Lee and Chung variant. So it's Jay Lee and Jun Chung, I believe. We've got a towel variant. Very cool. We've got an action figure variant, which is great. Which is also very fitting because, I mean, these started out as action figures. We also have a Rob Liefeld variant. And this one, if you shop with us at infinityflux.net, might not be up there because the cover wasn't revealed till really recently or put up.
This just showed up on Previews World within a couple hours ago, I think, because I looked for it earlier today around noon and it was not there. So this like just hit.
Yeah, so give this one time if you want this one. Keep checking back. It will appear there. We also have, of course, some foil covers. So we got a foil of that David Nakayama cover. We've got a foil of the PARRILLO cover. We have a Thundercats symbol foil gold variant, which I'm not sure on there what would be gold, but
the logo, the gold bits in the logo. I don't know.
There's also the Spotlight. It's called a Spotlight blank variant, but it's not really that blank when you've got the Spotlight on there, and an orange blank cover as well. So, of course, there's even more than that. They've got tons of incentives and everything, but you can check all those out at infinityflux.net.
Next is Spider-Punk Arms Race #1. This is a new miniseries. I think continuing the previous Spider-Punk miniseries. This is written by Cody Ziegler. The art is by Justin Mason. Not a whole lot of information about what the story of this actually is, but the solicitation does remind us that Norman Osborn of Earth 138 is dead, but he created some chaos before he went out that may now be too much for Spider-Punk and his friends to handle. So we continue to sell the Spider-Punk trade paperback here. Like, we keep ordering it and it keeps selling. The last one sold really well, so if you're a big Spider-Punk fan, don't miss out on this one. We have our A cover right here. We have a Ian Bertram foil variant. There's a Carrie Andrews variant. I really like that one. There's an Olivier Coipel variant, and there's a Todd NAUCK WINDOWSHADES variant.
I like this one. That one's cool, where he's got the amp in the window.
He's got the amp in the window, yeah.
Really fun, yeah. Spider-Punk, especially out of kind of the Edge of the Spider-Verse, you had Spider-Gwen or Ghost Spider that was really big. Spider-Punk might be the next biggest one, and definitely just doubled that up because of the last movie. Everybody loves Spider-Punk.
Yeah.
Next up, we have What If Venom. So, in the spirit of the What If books, we are getting a What If Venom series, and basically, what it seems like the crux of this is going to be, what if blank character got the symbiote? What would that mean? We've seen a lot of these through the Venomverse storyline, like a bunch of characters getting them. But I think this is more of like, if instead of Eddie Brock, you go back to that time frame and characters got the symbiote at that point, what that would mean when there wasn't a Venom already established. So it's hard to tell, but I believe this first issue is going to... It's written by Jeremy Holt and the art is by Jesus Hervas. I believe this one is going to be what if She-Hulk got the symbiote. The later issues actually have like kind of the key character on there that it's going to be representing, but this one, because it's the first issue, I want to show you a little bit of all of them. It looks like we are getting, this is going to be a 5-issue series. We're getting She-Hulk, Wolverine, Doctor Strange, Loki, and Moon Knight, which you can kind of all see represented on that cover. So it sounds fun. I hope there's kind of a new take on it. I like the idea of, like, in this universe, there was no Venom, so what does that mean for these characters? It sounds really cool, so if you're a big Venom fan, you'll want to check this one out. We've got our A cover here. We have a black blank cover, or I guess Venom if you zoomed in really far.
What if the symbiote bonded with a comic book?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
We also have a really nice JONBOY MEYERS cover. That's also why I kind of think this is going to be the She-Hulk issue.
Yeah. It'd be weird if it weren't because of this cover. Hey, what if Doctor Strange bonded with Venom? Here's She-Hulk on the cover. That'd be weird.
And it's a cool homage to Sensational She-Hulk and everything. And we also have a Paulo SIQUEIRA foil variant. And I believe that one's like, check with your store about availability and stuff, because it's like a print to order type thing.
Next is Night Thrasher #1, a new Night Thrasher. When's the last time we saw Night Thrasher? Like, I don't even know.
No.
It's been years since we've seen Night Thrasher. Of course, he was big in the 90s, leader of the New Warriors, had his own couple miniseries back in the 90s, which were really good. And now he is back. This is written by Jay Holtham. It doesn't say, is it Jay Holtham? And then the art is by Nelson Daniel. Dwayne Taylor comes back to New York City after the death of a loved one, but he's not there for too long before Silhouette, who is his ex-teammate on the New Warriors, comes to him to get help dealing with a new criminal called the OG, who the solicitation says the OG's true identity will change Night Thrasher's legacy forever. So I don't know if maybe it's somebody from his past. Like, this makes me want to go back and read the couple of Night Thrasher miniseries that I still have from back when I was a kid. There was one called For Control, and I think there was just one called Night Thrasher. And I want to see if it maybe, like, I can sort of pick out, like, oh, they're gonna grab this person from this miniseries and make him this character. I don't know, but and I think in the second issue, I think he gets like a new suit and everything. So, just if you're a big '90s kid like I am and read a whole bunch of stuff back then, and you know, I thought Night Thrasher was really cool. He's getting a brand new miniseries. I'm so excited for this.
And what's interesting too, I think, did you say this is not like going back to the days of like a lot of the Marvel miniseries?
Right.
This is like current what Night Thrasher is doing now.
I believe so. I believe this, unlike a lot of the miniseries are doing, I believe this is set in today's world. And it sounds like maybe he hasn't been Night Thrasher for a while. I'm not sure.
I like that angle too. Of like, you know, he is very rooted in the 90s. What is coming back? You know, what role does he play now?
Yeah, so I have to see. I mean, it might end up being one that's set back in the past, but I think this one is a current day set miniseries. But that's our A cover right there. We have a Davigo Black History Month variant. We have a Hildebrandt. So that was the Marvel Masterpieces card from back in the day. We have a Vecchio Marvel '97 variant. There's a Mark Bagley homage variant. I like that one a lot. Really cool. Yeah, and then a Trad Moore variant.
It's great. It's what a like cool costume and just like character. Like that's what every kid was like. That is awesome. Yeah. Okay, next up we have Penthouse Comics, which is going to be a magazine-sized book. Of course, if you're familiar, this is going to be a mature title, but Penthouse actually had comics like 30 years ago where a lot of big names that you know now worked on different things, because if you think of it, this is kind of like heavy metal. This is going to be a collection of maybe like one ongoing story and some standalone stories and all that, but kind of an anthology style. And you've got big names on this like Gilliam March and really cool. This cover here is by Matteo Scalera. So you've got big names working on this, doing really cool, unique mini-series stories in a magazine format. But once again, of course, it's mature, but in different ways, because it says there's like a Tarantino-style story that's kind of an action one. There's one about a serial killer who, kind of like Calendar Man, kills someone on each month of the year.
I'm interested in that one. I think that one sounds cool.
And he dubs them like Miss July, Miss August, and so a girl has to like hunt him down and figure out what's this. So you've got a lot of different kinds of stories in this, and it just sounds really interesting. It's going to be a new ongoing magazine-sized format, and them as a publisher have more comics coming out later on in the year, so they're getting into the comics game. We've got a bunch of covers for it, so we have the ones that we can theoretically show on YouTube. But this is, I really like this A cover. I think this is really cool. Steampunk. We also have the Burness Sun variant, where I just figured out what this was, and she is about to get a really bad bite from that crow. We have the Aspinall variant. And we have the Samelin variant, which seems like a really cool, like, Black Widow style.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking it was at first. Next is Cemetery Kids Don't Die. This is a new, I think this is a mini-series from, this is a new one from Oni. And it's written by Zach Thompson. The art is by Daniel Irizarri. And this is really cool. So this is centered around a game console called the Dreamwave, where that's the first gaming console that you play completely while you're asleep. Which, that doesn't sound very restful though.
No, it doesn't.
But it is about a story about 4 friends known as the Cemetery Kids, and they spend their nights roaming the endless maps of the most brutal horror game ever created in the Dreamwave. They're trying to take down the big boss of the world, right? But one night, one of them does not wake up from the Dreamwave, and so the rest of the kids sort of have to figure out how to get them out. They have to navigate a forbidden landscape to rescue their friend and pray that the secret lurking at its center does not follow them home. So a little bit of sci-fi, maybe a little bit of supernatural stuff. But and it gives me vibes of like there's a lot of manga and anime of like kids getting trapped in video games and that kind of thing. So it gives me a little bit of that vibe.
Overlord or whatever.
Yeah, Shield Hero, I think. Yeah. Mixed with a little bit of D&D. Also video games. So like a nice mixture, a nice hodgepodge of sci-fi, fantasy, that kind of stuff. And it sounds really fun. And Oni themselves commented on our Instagram reel when we talked about this on Wednesday and said that it will not disappoint. So very excited to check this out. So there's some cool covers for it too. This is the A cover. There is a Weaver cover. There is
I like their character designs.
Yeah,
those are really cool.
Yeah, those are that's like your
avatar.
Like your members of your party in your D&D campaign. There's a Stoko variant, and then there is a Lego Stav variant.
Yeah, I like this, but it'd be like, oh no, they went AFK. It's because they woke up.
Yeah, right.
Instead of they fell asleep at the keyboard, they woke up at the keyboard or something. Next up, we have Power Rangers The Return, or Mighty Morphin Power Rangers The Return. This sounds really cool. So this is actually going to be co-written by the Pink Ranger herself, Amy Jo Johnson, with Matt Hodson. And this is what I love about a lot of Power Rangers books that they've been doing are very unique takes. They're They've done some kind of Elseworld stuff, and that's what this is going to be. The artist on this, by the way, is Nico Leon. And in an alternate universe, the Power Rangers have defeated Rita Repulsa, Lord Zed. They've basically taken out their like big enemies, but at a great cost. So I'm. It doesn't say who they lose in this, but I think I kind of figured it out by listening to this, and you see the other characters they mention. Um, but 22 years later, they all return to mourn the death of one of their fellow members, only to learn from some of the other Rangers that I believe it's Jason the Red Ranger. I had to make sure I knew which Red Ranger they were talking about in this. It was Jason has gone rogue and become like a vigilante ranger. And
that sounds cool.
Yeah, and then disappeared, and so it's up to the remaining Rangers to find him. So it sounds like this is maybe like if they didn't get to like Rocky and Cat, like later on in the first run of Mighty Morphin, like Jason stayed, and maybe they defeated them, Rita and Zed, like before the transition, that the other Rangers would never come about and everything. I think that's a really cool, like almost like a what if story. But sounds great, and it sounds like they're going to be also being pursued by a mysterious figure. That who's that going to be? I'm sure it's probably going to be a character from Mighty Morphin or something, but playing a different role. But I think this sounds really cool. I like this Elseworld style, and it's cool that Amy Jo Johnson is going to be co-writing this. So this is our A cover for that. And we also have, I don't have the arch for this one, but this is the variant. Next up, we have other number ones. Before we get to the other number ones, I just want to remind you to head over to infinityflux.net right now, where you can follow along. You can pre-order the books that we talk about. Everything you pre-order, you get 10% off of, whether you're local or get your book shipped to you. We're more than happy to handle it either way. A lot of great stuff coming out, so head over there and click through there, because there's a lot of books that we don't show, a lot of variants we don't show, but you can see them all there. So continue on with our other number ones, starting with
One Hand. So this is a new 5-issue miniseries written by Rom V, and the art is by Lawrence Campbell. And this is about a police detective named Ari Nasser who was about to retire until a brutal murder occurs with some of the hallmarks of the one-hand killer, which couldn't be, because Detective Nasser put them away twice before. So, it can't be this
like
guy,
Batman putting someone away.
Right, yeah. So, it can't be that guy, or maybe it is. So now Detective Nasser's going to have to figure out the secrets of this case. Try to basically sounds like a crime noir story to me. They're going to have to figure out who's behind it. Is it really, the killer that it looks like? Is it a copycat? Things like that. And it's only going to get, deeper and darker. The more clues get unraveled, the further down the rabbit hole he's going to go. So, sounds just like a really cool detective crime noir story. This kind of sounds like something that Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips would do. If you're into like stories like Criminal, things like that. So, just a new, or if you're a Rom V fan, he's doing some good work right now over on Detective Comics. So, here's a different book. So we have our A cover right there, and then we have a B cover from Kumar and Loughrigge.
Very cool. Next up, this is really interesting. So this is the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles source book. And I first thought, oh, this is like one of those one-shot companion books. But it's kind of hard to tell because this is actually going to be a 4-issue epic that says collects and catalogs every character, location, and event from 40 years of Turtles.
Wow.
So I'm like, is this just the IDW Turtles? Well, that has been running for 40 years.
Right. It's got to be everything.
It's got to be everything. Yeah. And it talks about, like in issue 1, it starts with Rokusaki and Hamato Yoshi, and the founding of the Foot Clan, the Turtles kind of growing influence in the city, all of that. I looked ahead to issue 2, which covers like the more of like the Krang and like the space adventures and everything. So it's really interesting. So it sounds like it's... I don't want to say, because I don't know for sure, but almost like the Grand Design. I wonder if it's going to have some of those elements in it of like, hey, we're going to tell the entire history of the Ninja Turtles in 4 issues.
That would be cool.
But it does say various artists, so I think they're still going to use stuff from the different books and comics and whatever along the way to tell this story. But I think this sounds really cool, especially because they're getting close to issue 150 coming up, where we don't really know what's happening. They say, you know, the Ninja Turtles is ending, but it's not getting rebooted. It's going to have like a bunch of spin-off series.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because issue 150 is going to be the last issue, but they are going to do more Ninja Turtles books that just continue the story. So it's not restarting with a new #1, telling the story all over again. So maybe they're going to do books with other characters, and if you're not familiar with those characters, then these source books would be a great way to learn. I mean, I don't know. I'm just guessing. But that sounds like a cool thing if that's what they're doing.
I always love these kind of bonus books that have like, all the characters and maybe some like bios on them and some stats and all of that. So it sounds really cool. If you're a Ninja Turtles fan, I feel like this is one you'll definitely want to pick up. And there's just the one cover for it.
Next is a new series in the Resistance universe. So if you're familiar with that, I think I have all the trades of that, but I haven't read any of them yet. But it sounds super interesting.
Straczynski's universe. I think he's written pretty much all of those.
Yeah, I think so. It sounds really cool. I just got to sit down and read it. So this is called You and I. It's a 6-issue miniseries, and this is it's written by J. Michael Straczynski, and the art is by Mike Choi. And like I said, set in the Resistance universe. It's about a guy named U, just the letter U. He has no memory of his past before the event that gave everybody that created the Reborns in this universe. So he just has to sort of set out to see who is he, what's his reason to live, what's his purpose, what's he going to do, and that kind of thing. As he's doing that, he meets a girl named Isabel, so she's the I in the You and I. I lost my place. Sorry. Wait a minute. I looked at the... Oh, so so here it is. So he meets a girl named Isabel, whose father died in the plague that caused all this, and whose uncle threw her out to just live on the streets, basically. And sparks fly between them. They connect almost instantly.
That's the and part.
Right. But then Yu runs afoul of a crime syndicate who is out for revenge. I don't know if they're out for revenge against him or if they're out for revenge against somebody else, but he gets caught up in it. I'm not quite sure on that part. But if you've read the other books in the Resistance universe, this is a new one. Don't miss it, because it sounds like... I just think it's really cool how, you know, Straczynski's kind of sort of quietly over here just building his own little universe. Yeah. And it's got several books and different volume, like Erratic has like 2 different volumes and stuff, and like it sounds like this little universe is building and building over here off to the side, and it sounds really cool. So this is the first issue here. This is our A cover by Mike Choi. We also have a Deodato and Loughrigge variant, and then we have a romance novel homage, which looks very cool.
Yeah, sounds really cool.
Yeah.
I need to read all of those. Next up, we've got notable 2s and 3s continuations of series we want to make sure you don't miss out on. I'm sure some of these we've gotten the first issues, but not the seconds, or that kind of thing. But don't miss out on ordering them so you don't miss the continuing one.
And real quick, we don't normally do this, but we have a live on TikTok running right now too. And Mike Choi is here right now. So, who is the artist of You and I. So, Mike, thank you very much for chiming in. We're very excited for your book.
Yeah. That's awesome. And thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Okay, next up we're going to 2s and 3s, starting with Fall of the House of X, or Fall of the House of 10. I think this one's X, right? The other one's Powers of 10.
Yeah, I think so.
This one's House of X. Or they're both X, because that's just what I say.
I think this is House of X because it's Xavier's house, you know, essentially. But then I think the other was Rise of the Powers of, or Fall of the, what is it?
The Powers of 10.
Powers of 10, because there is like 10-year jumps in there, like kind of like the other one was.
They're correct. They're correct to correct me,
but,
right? Sometimes it's hard to remember that. So I really like the first issue of this one. I'm excited to continue on with this because all of this Fall of the House of X stuff has been really interesting. And this one, as you see on the cover, Polaris returns to guide the team now that they're at their lowest. It looks like Nowhere in the background.
I don't know. I mean, I see how where you're getting at. I don't know.
Yeah, and it looks kind of spacey and stuff.
Yeah.
So
well, I don't know. There's like fighter planes, but then that kind of looks like a ship. I'm not sure. That kind of looks like Nowhere.
Well, Forge was out in space, and they said he's coming back with his fleet.
Oh,
and stuff.
that may be what it is then.
Piloting Nowhere or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sounds really cool. I love this cover. Polaris is a super cool character. She's now coming up, going to be wearing the Magneto helmet. Just really, really cool.
Yeah.
So if you've not been reading this, but you're interested, definitely pick up the first one and check it out because I thought it was really, really interesting. This is our A cover for that. We also have our Ben Harvey Shadowcat variant. We also have our Giuseppe Camuncoli connecting variant. So looks like Apocalypse is back as well.
Next is Vengeance of the Moon Knight #2. The first one was really good. Like, who's the new Moon Knight? I have no idea.
And this one also sold out in an instant.
Oh, did it?
Here.
Yeah, very cool. And not a whole lot of information about this one, but we do know that the new Moon Knight, whoever that is gonna, engage in fisticuffs with Hunter's Moon at the Midnight Mission. But if they're duking it out there, then what about the people who need help at the Midnight Mission? Like, what's going to happen to them? So the first issue was great. Like, I was sold. Like, who is this guy? And but it's cool because this new Moon Knight is very not happy about vampires and ex-villains and stuff being in the Midnight Mission. He's like, get out of my house, and I don't know. I'm really excited for this one. So we have a cover right there. We have a Camuncoli Marvel 97 variant. I love that. That's classic movie. I prefer that look to like the more armored with the white and the black. I like that better.
The red eyes.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that looks good. And then we have a Doton Akonde variant as well. That looks, golly, that looks cool too. Cool. I like his weapons.
Yeah,
he's got these Eskrima sticks, but with moons on the end. and a
we haven't seen him use them yet.
Not yet.
He just kind of showed up.
He just showed up at the end, but yeah.
And next up, we have Wolverine issue 43. Of course, this is 43. It's not a number 2 or 3, but it is part 3 of the Sabretooth War. So I wanted to keep you up to date on the Sabretooth War because it feels like this is a big story for Wolverine. And this one, as you can kind of see on the cover, how did their days being part of Team X now play into what the story is going on right now? So it's cool that it seems like it's reaching back through the two characters' history together. To make this seems like a final confrontation between the two.
It would be awesome if they showed a quick scene of them fighting Predator because
because
they did that.
When that happened.
Yeah, remember when that happened? Yeah.
So this is our A cover for that. We also have our Megan Hetrick variant, which I don't know. I love anytime Sabretooth just looks super weird.
Yeah.
It's fun. And we also have our Oliver Vantine X-Men 97 homage variant, which also just classic costumes. Loving it.
Next is Thunderbolts #3. Now, this looks like the scene that we saw in the Timeless issue from a couple weeks back, and it was just like off to the side, one tiny little panel. But that's the one that we were both like, "Is Bucky fighting a kaiju? Like, what is that about?" And yeah, but it makes me wonder, like, what is it about this that made it important enough to be in an issue of Timeless?
Yeah.
Or are they just picking random things? I don't know.
Was it just for shock value?
Maybe,
of kind of a weird moment? But yeah, it pretty much looks like this, almost identical. I think the dinosaur, the kaiju, and that's white and it's green, but little tweaks like that happen.
Yeah. And in this one, Bucky recruits U.S. Agent and Shang-Chi to continue their sort of battle against Red Skull. But Bucky winds up having to keep American, and I guess that's his name. I'm not familiar with this. Is it a character named American Kaiju? Because that's what the solicitation says. He's got a flag on his chest. If you guys know, let me know. This is something I'm not familiar with. But he has to keep the American Kaiju from destroying Hong Kong. So
it just sounds like a blast.
Yeah,
honestly,
I don't know if what if Bucky pops some Pym particles and grows big and just slugs out? I don't know. That sounds fun. This miniseries has been really cool so far. It's cool how Bucky has sort of handpicked a couple members of different, more Black Ops type characters to go on missions. Hopefully, the end will have all of them together. That would be cool. So that's our A cover. We have Casanova's connecting variant.
There's the kaiju in the background.
Yeah, he's popping up everywhere. And then there's a Godlewski Marvel 97 variant. With a
very different team in the 97.
Very different Thunderbolts. But what a cool concept. I remember that back in the days. Like that very last page revealed. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
They're all villains masquerading as heroes? That's awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Beware the Planet of the Apes, issue #2. Issue #1, this was really good. I liked it. It's kind of back to the classic Planet of the Apes time frame and movies and all of that. And one of the cool parts of the last one is as they were going into this forbidden zone, looking for one of their lost cousin, they ran across a Yankee Stadium. And apparently it's going to be what awaits Cornelius, Zira, and Nova in Yankee Stadium. So it's like a post-apocalyptic Yankee City and everything. It's just really cool. I like seeing the little like landmarks and everything, but in the Planet of the Apes. So this is our A cover for that, and we also have our Javier Guerin variant.
Next is Crave number 3. So number 2 was this week, right?
Yep,
and
sold
it was
out immediately.
Sold out. Yeah, it's very spicy, but very interesting.
Yeah.
Now this one, David, who is our main character of the book, he's not on the cover here, but he gets a call from Kai, who I think is his roommate, who we haven't seen much of yet.
Who left the note?
I think so. Yeah, because his roommate in issue 1 left a note that says, "Don't use Crave." I'm pretty sure this is him calling him to alert him about the danger of staying on campus as Crave's consequences, as the consequences of using the Crave app worsens. So, like I said, issue number 2, it kind of looked like the Crave app was maybe watching them in a way. It sounds like where the first 2 issues have been very adult and spicy, it feels like it's going to venture into the realm of like thriller, kind of terrifying a little bit. And so I think it's really getting to that spot starting with this issue. So it's been really good though. So we have our A cover right here by Maria Levitt, and then our C cover is also by Maria Levitt. There's David right there and Alexandra. Yeah. They had an encounter in the library in issue number 2. And
some fine books together.
And there was there was video posted on the internet later, and now he has to do some damage control.
Yeah. That's a nice way of putting it. Damage control. I didn't read the first one of this, but you did. Fine and Merrimack, which is kind of a small town detective story.
Well, at least it started that way. Like, moved to a small town to start a small detective agency. But the crux of the entire series is that they start just looking for a missing girl, but the mystery is going to get deeper and deeper and bigger and bigger. So it starts in a small town, but it may end up being like really big.
Yeah, by Kyle Starks.
It was really good, I will say.
Yeah, and I really like just the setting and stuff is really unique and cool. Mm-hmm. So if you enjoyed that first issue, don't forget to sign up for issue number 2 or the ongoing series, because especially for books like this that or the Amazing Spider-Man, everything like that, stores don't always over order. Mm-hmm. So if you're expecting just to walk into your store and find a copy of number 2, you might not. So make sure you let them know that you want to read it. And we also have this variant. This is the Puebla variant.
Yeah, good series. I really like this a lot.
Next up, we've got cool covers. Just continuing with a bunch of cool stuff we want you to look at and maybe order if you are so inclined.
This is Miles Morales Spider-Man number 16. So this is the last issue of Miles Morales that is a Gang War tie-in.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, not the last issue, but the last issue that's going to tie into Gang War, I guess I should have said. Miles versus Hobgoblin for the fate of Brooklyn. I mean, that's all you need to know right there. Issue 15 came out this week. It was really cool. Miles and Kamala Khan and Shift, and I'm forgetting somebody else, going up against Hobgoblin and Rabble, and this is the culmination of all that. So we have our Black History Month variant right here, and then
I think that's what Spider Prime from.
Is it Spider Zero
or Spider Zero? Yeah. I can't remember what they're called.
Yeah,
but yeah.
And then there is a Nick Klein Stormbreakers variant.
This is really cool. It's like a vampire spider or something. And next, we've got Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 43. And this is it says final fight of Gang War. I think isn't there like a bookend to Gang War, I believe?
There's one book that's coming out in March, but most of it is February.
Yeah, I think there might be like a bookend, like Gang War.
Like Omega or something like that. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah. But this sounds like this is kind of wrapping up a lot of the big parts of the Gang War storyline.
Yeah, by the time like this and Miles Morales and stuff, by the time those come out, we will be near the end of Gang War.
So sounds cool. This is our Justin Mason Thwip variant, which of course, I really like this one.
I do like it.
Gives me a lot of Bagley.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, the eyes look very Bagley.
Almost Ultimate Spider-Man. How he had really big eyes. Yep. And then we also have, of course, the Disney homage cover. Don't be confused. This is still Amazing Spider-Man. It just says it nowhere on it. This is not X-Men, but it's a fun homage to that.
And next is Blade number 8. We just wanted to show you this awesome Lionel Francis Yu Marvel 97 cover. In this one, Blade goes deep into the heart of enemy territory to learn more about the Adonis. So I guess he's still dealing with that. But this cover is super cool. I would love to see a X-Men 97 style Blade cartoon. Like that would
Yeah.
be.
And next up, we have Darth Vader issue number 43. Wow, everything's hitting 43.
Yeah,
It's
wow.
Wolverine 43, Amazing Spider-Man 43, and Darth Vader number 43. It's like basically because they all started, I guess, around the same time. Roughly,
Yeah, I
they
guess
would
so.
have to.
Yeah.
But this is the Black History Month variant for that one by Ken Lashley. And this one, it just talks about threads from years of Vader storytelling are getting pulled together. This is my tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. I think possibly, I don't know this. I think Vader will probably end at issue 50, and so will Star Wars. The previous 2 volumes of Darth Vader and Star Wars all, I believe, ended at issue 50.
Okay.
And after the first one, then it does the time jump, and they take place between the movies. And hopefully, we'll be seeing like post Return of the Jedi content.
Yeah, I was gonna say that because I mean I'm not a reader of the Star Wars books, but it does seem like at some point you can only tell so much story between like the 2 films because there's not that much time between them. So it does feel like you would run into the movie at some point. So that would be cool if they release another one that leapfrogged the next movie.
Yeah,
And, yeah.
you know, who knows what Darth Vader would do because you leapfrog and he's gone.
Yeah.
But there is
Yeah.
I think there's still room for maybe some more Vader stories set in different times. But with this talking about pulling threads together of different storylines that have been going on for years, it feels like we're getting close to maybe the end of this one. And Afra's ending and Bounty Hunters is ending. It just kind of makes sense. But that makes me excited for also what comes next.
Maybe the next Star Wars Darth Vader book is like Adventures of Force Ghost Anakin, you know?
We also have this really nice. I love these Rebels anniversary
cool.
covers, and this one is the Windguard Rebels 10th anniversary cover.
Next is Daredevil Black Armor number 4, which is ending. Like this is the last issue. I'm pretty sure it does because it says like the final bout begins, which I thought it was a 5-issue miniseries. I've been loving this miniseries, so I was really bummed when I realized, oh, this is it right here. This over, but it's the big showdown between Daredevil and Baron Strucker. So
very cool.
There it is. I mean, like the way the last issue ended. You know, Matt Murdock was like, you know, ring the bell. You know, Baron Strucker was like, get in the ring. And he's like, ring the bell and let's get started. And now this is going to be a knockdown drag out. So I have loved this miniseries, and I'm sad that it's ending. But we have this really cool Dan Panosian variant.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing more of Daredevil in this time frame or some older Daredevil stories because I just think they're really fun.
Yeah, they did a good job with that one. It's really good.
Next up, we have graphic novels and more like reprints and that kind of fun stuff. And starting with Duke. This is Duke number 1. We're getting our second printing of Duke, and rightly so because we got this, we sold out, we got it again, and sold out again. So thankfully, people are going to be able to read this.
And it should be sold out because it's so good. Like everybody needs to be picking this up, and I'm glad that they are going back with multiple printings so that everybody can because it's so good.
Yeah, definitely tune in for our show coming up on Monday because we're going to be going over Cobra Commander number 1. I'd be really interested to see compare and contrast the two and you know storylines and that kind of thing. But we've got these great covers by Howard. And of course, you've got Rock and Roll on this one, which is very cool. And we've got this one by with Destro, also by Howard. And we have this Riley variant, and this is what they kind of teased early on about the who's going to be kind of your early G.I. Joe team and what's Baroness doing on there. So you know, we don't find out this issue because we've read number 1 and they are not together in this, but. Be interested going forward.
And I like those other 2 covers. I like how they are very similar to the covers that we've gotten for the later printings of Transformers. Where it's just like a white cover, but just the character. Like I love how it all sort of looks the same. It's all uniform and fits together. Like they've done a great job with this whole universe. And next is the Marvel Superhero Secret Wars number 2 facsimile edition. So this is the book that came out in the, I think, 84, 85. We had a facsimile edition of number 1 recently, right?
Yes, because I think they're going through all of these as well.
Are they going to do all
I think
of them?
I think so.
Wow, okay. Well, if you want to, you know, get a facsimile of the original Secret Wars series, if they are going to do them all, then number 2 is right here.
Yeah. Very cool.
I think they're doing a foil.
And there is a foil variant as well. It just wasn't looking any from this on the screen. This one is really funny because
Yeah.
we were questioning why they didn't do this
Right.
before. Because what book was it that the Madripoor Knight
Yeah.
book coming out basically is set right here.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, they're just releasing a poster with this old cover on it and whatever. But now they are doing a facsimile edition of Uncanny X-Men 268. That will probably come out very near when that other issue comes out.
Well, this comes out on February 28th. I want to say Madripoor Knights comes out a little before.
Yeah.
Which, so it seems like a little bit of a missed opportunity. They should have flip-flopped them or put them out at the same time. But, yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they're doing this, though.
Yeah.
If they're going to do that Madripoor Knights miniseries, I'm glad that they're doing that.
Yeah, it'll be cool to read those together
Yeah.
and see. And I'm not sure. I don't think there was a foil for this one.
I think there was.
Okay. Well, you can go on our website, infinityflux.net.
Yeah. If there is one, it'll be there.
It'll be there.
Yeah. Next is the Spider-Girl Modern Era Epic Collection Volume 1.
I like these Modern Era
Yeah.
Epic collections because they're collecting a lot of things that are pretty hard to get complete.
Yeah, still, I mean, they're not new, but they're not Bronze Age stuff like a lot of the Epic collections. So this is cool. Like, I haven't read any of this series. I hate to say I've never read this, so I will for sure be picking this up because I've always been sort of curious about it. It's going to be $44.99, and it collects What If number 105, which is her first appearance, I believe, and then Spider-Girl number 1 through 15, number 1/2, and the 1999 annual. Remember when they used to do like 1/2 of everything?
Yeah.
That was always weird. So yeah, a good starting chunk of the Spider-Girl that was part of the Earth. What do they call it? Earth 2 or E2 or
yeah.
I don't remember.
Oh yeah. With Juggernaut.
It was some like
J2,
imprint. J2. I think something like that. But yeah, so if you want to read some Spider-Girl, this is a great thing to get.
Yeah, and usually with these, they also continue with them to complete the series.
Yeah, they do a good job putting these out.
Next up, we have Star Wars Dark Droids already being collected, issues 1 through 5 of the series that just wrapped up a few weeks ago. So if you missed out on the single issues and you want to check it out, pick up this one and get the full story. You don't get the Vader and Star Wars issues that went around it, but you get the main kind of event story in this one. And it is going to be $24.99.
And then next is the Wonder Man, the Saga of Simon Williams trade paperback. So this is going to be $44.99. And this just collects several different stories featuring Wonder Man. So you've got his first appearance in Avengers number 8 or 9, I don't quite remember. You've got a couple of issues of Avengers like in the 150s. You've got his 2006 miniseries, and then there's a few other little piecemealed issues of Wonder Man in there. Sadly, I was sad to see that his 90s series, there's none of that in there for some reason. So even though that's the cover, that's him on the cover of that number 1, so I'm not really sure why that is. But, we've got the Wonder Man Disney Plus series coming at some point, I think next year. So if you want to get boned up on Wonder Man a little bit, then you can check out this trade paperback and read a whole bunch of different stories with him.
Yeah, cool. Because I only time I've ever read Wonder Man is probably in Avengers and that West Coast and
West Coast Avengers. Yeah.
Next up, this is one's really cool, and I always feel like when books like this come up, I'm having to like sell people on it, whatever. But if you've never read Six Gun by Cullen Bunn and Brian Hurt, you're missing out.
It is awesome.
It is so good. This came out from Oni. It is a Western horror fantasy with like supernatural. Basically, it's like, what if you took something like a Lord of the Rings or something, but set it in the Old West? So you have the 6 guns, and they're like, old 6 shooters, but each of them has a special power, but if you collect them all, it does something big, so the enemy is going after collecting all of them.
So it's like the Infinity Stones, but pistols in the Old West.
Yeah, and you've got like snake men, but they're also cowboys, and you've got this like undead big villain and stuff. It is so fun. And they are doing this omnibus of it, and this is going to collect 1 through 17 of the original series, which we looked up is about 50-something issues long. Yeah,
the original series is 50 issues. So hopefully they'll keep going with these since this is only the first 17. But there's also a bunch of different little mini-series as well.
Yeah, and this collects also Son of the Gun 1 through 5, which is one of the mini-series that went along with it. So if you've never read this, highly recommended. I think this is some of Cullen Bunn's best. Just so cool. Especially, there's not a whole lot of like Westerns comics coming out. This is just like the coolest genre. So highly recommend picking this one up, and it's only $39.99 for this big deluxe sized volume.
Yeah, when I saw this on the list, I got super excited. I think I have all these digitally. I've read several, and they're so good. So to have a nice thick book with a whole bunch of it, just perfect.
Yeah, so check that one out. It's going to be really cool. And that is it for Comics from the Future. We did mention up top, if you notice, there wasn't any DC on here because of MLK Day. There is, which is weird because Image is still shipping, but DC's not, so it must have been a DC decision as a company.
Well, also DC's FOC is on. Well, that's on Sunday.
Yeah, they're on Sunday.
I don't know.
But you know, because of that, there is a week off from DC. But next week we should be, you know, the whole family's back together. Marvel, DC, everybody else will be there.
Which for the first time since before Christmas, I think.
Yeah, they've all been present.
Yeah.
But no problem there. We still got plenty of good stuff coming out. Make sure to check out our show on Monday, where we're going over all of the big books that are coming out next week. You don't want to miss out on those. And like a friendly reminder, give us a like, subscribe, leave us a comment. We actually went through the other day, responded to a bunch of comments. We're always trying to respond to any questions, anything like that. So keep that up and drop us an emoji of a... what's a big one this week? A cat for Thundercats.
Yeah, perfect.
Or like a lion.
Yeah, a cat or a lion or something feline.
So let us know that you made it to the end of the show.
Right.
And thank you so much for watching. And until next time, see ya.